is my slam time. Gonna bust up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your behind. This is my slam time. Gonna mess up your whole mind.
Hello and welcome to another EWA video. 2 in 2 days, guys. It's going well. As I hope you recognised from yesterday, I'm Micah Beza. I did the update video yesterday. If you watched EWA when we were uploading the weekly shows, I was the play-by-play commentator. And I mentioned yesterday I'm also a member of the admin team that puts match cards together, make sure the matches get done, etc, etc. I'm joined today by, I'd say another member, but the member, the key member of the admin team, the architect, as we just joked about before we started the recording of the whole thing. I'm not even sure, we didn't discuss beforehand what I'm supposed to call you. He controls Taylor Osborne, he goes by Taylor on Twitch, Funhinged. I know his real name, I don't know if he wants you to, so I'm not going to say it.
Either way, because this is sort of like breaking the kayfabe, so it doesn't really worry me, sort of thing.
Yeah, but this is the original, the only surviving founding member of EWA. Like, I'm close. I was in within like a week or two, but I wasn't a founding member. Like, you're the only surviving one. So I thought it'd be interesting, and I'd hit you up about it, and you agreed to tell the origin story. And we did a while ago, when we were uploading regular on the channel, do a Chatty Tuesdays episode where we touched on the origin story as well as some other stuff. But I thought a condensed version of just how EWA got started, why it exists, and how we got to where we are now would be interesting
sort of like
for people.
More of a footnote version, so, you know. I have that long form there where we ramble on for, I think that's like near 40, 50 minutes, I think
Probably, yeah. What I'll do, because that's still on the channel unlisted, you can only get to it with the link, so I'll either put the link in the description, or I'll put an end screen on, or I'll put a card on now to link to that if people want to go and listen to the full version, where we're also playing WWE Battlegrounds. Remember that game? I remember people thinking that was going to be popular. But on this one, it's literally just going to be some gameplay footage from an EWA match. I haven't even selected it yet. I'll select it based on the length of our chat. So we're just able to focus on just the conversation instead of occasionally interrupting ourselves going, no, god damn it, reverse or something. So it'll be a bit more fluid as well, I think. So yeah.
Someone's got high hopes.
Yeah, not really. So I'll start off just by explaining how I got to the point where we met, and then I think if you explain how you got to the point where we met, and then we can sort of go back and forth, taking it from the point where we both knew about each other.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I run my own YouTube channel, channels plural, but I run a YouTube channel, and I thought a good idea to help me sort of self-promote and get some views on videos and get some subscribers would be to join a lot of Facebook groups that relate to the content I make. So, you know, if I'm playing a certain game, I'll go and find fan groups of that game and join in some chats so they don't just think I'm a spam bot. But when I upload a video, I can be like, hey guys, you like this game? I just did a video on this game. Maybe check it out. You know, I thought it might be a good strategy. And one of the games I was playing was WWE 2K18, I think it would have been at the time. It was one of the 2Ks anyway. And I joined this group, not knowing what it was. Turned out it was an online sort of, I don't want to use the term eFed because that's a bit different, but it was like a combination eFed online PvP league type thing. Where you made your own wrestler, you played the character, and you got booked in matches, and there was titles to fight for, and all that sort of stuff. Basically what EWA is now, but I didn't know what it was at the time. I just thought it was another wrestling group where when I uploaded a wrestling video, I could share it with them. And I saw what they were posting in the group. I was like, actually, this looks kind of interesting, so I asked about getting involved. And I joined up and ended up putting their international show, because it was mainly an American league, and they had a few people from dotted around the world, you know, England, Australia, Europe, that sort of thing, and just chucked them all in sort of one show, from what I remember. And that was where I bumped into this gentleman, who's going to tell you how he got there now. Or gentleman.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of, it's weird. It's also like, it was also my first time in one of these online leagues sort of thing. Like, and the whole way I found it is, I played this mobile app, which is it was a digital card trader. It was dealing with the wrestling thing. It just got grandfathered, I think, only started this month actually, so it got archived. But back then it was sort of like it was one of those you contact someone, you do all your trades. It's just digital cards, and I met someone through there that so also happened to turn into one of the founding admins too of EWA. And, we chatted back and forth for ages, and we ended up connecting via Facebook sort of thing, just to chat and all the rest, because I was in a couple of those Facebook groups for the digital app as well. And he just asked me, because he found out I had a PS4, and, I played the wrestling game, and he asked if I wanted to join, and I said, yep, sure, and similar thing. So, I ended up getting put into the international group, because by their logic we're not Americans, so it means we should all be on the same time frame, which is great because I'm in Australia and he
literally the opposite time zone.
yeah, it's like so like here's this person in Europe, try and find a time, it's like he's awake at my 2 a.m. like his best time to do a match is 4 a.m. Oh, why don't you get up? Are you mental? Like so we sort of bumped into each other, sort of that's sort of how I got into it as well. It's not exactly an exciting story, but but
it's just interesting because without us both ending up in there, this video probably would not be happening, and EWA would not. It might have still got founded because, like you said, you knew one of the other founding members, but with the greatest respect possible, I don't know if it would have lasted without the combination of me and you in the early days, because
we sort of turned into that engine that drove it. We really did.
Now we've got an admin team around us that do help out, do their roles well and what have you, but back in the early days it was
chaos. Let's put it blunt.
It was pretty chaotic, and I feel like people would have got a bit, like players, would have got a bit sick of it eventually, and it might have sort of crumbled from that perspective, not having a player base almost. Because there was a lot of competition as well when I started looking into it. There was a lot of leagues about, and you could find millions.
It was quite popular at that point. Like it was like quite you could almost say it was like a league boom.
And
happening at that point.
we both stumbled into it, not even knowing what it was, kind of not even having heard of the concept. But it was pretty popular. Yeah. We were like the other two people that played the game that didn't know about leagues, it seemed.
It's how it feels,
But so we ended up lumped into the same sort of group chat to organise our match times, and so we've deliberately been tactful about not mentioning the name of the place, because overall, I personally I'm not going to speak for you, I didn't have a great experience there. I won all the matches, which I was surprised by because I'd never played online, and I was like, well, I'm not expecting much from the results, but I'll just play to have fun. And then I ended up being the first European champion or something. I was like, oh, that was weird.
Let's be honest, it was less the play experience, and there was a lot of there was a couple of people there that sort of like were heads, tables, and all the rest of it, so to speak. And there was a lot of personality clash between their idea of what was meant to go, and there was a lot of this is our drum, this is our beat, you march to it. Very much like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I have an idea, at least listen to the idea kind of thing,
a lot of that sort of thing.
So because it was a bit of a bad experience, I didn't want to drag them through the mud, if they're still doing their thing. I literally don't know, but if they're still doing their thing, then good for them. It's obviously working for their player base. It didn't work for us. And basically, long story short, I was going to say we moved on, but we didn't. I left. I just was like, I've had enough, laters. And that, as far as I was concerned, was my foray into online leagues. I was like, well, that was kind of fun, but if they run like that, I'm not probably going to dive into another one anytime soon. I'm just going to go back to doing my own content on my own, and that was that. And then, maybe a week or two later, tops, I get a message from you, because I think back then, even as recent as 2018 or might have been early 2019, late 2017, early 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Even as recent as then, Facebook Messenger did not have the same security thing, so you could actually just message someone you didn't know, instead of it getting filtered into some weird inbox that you don't see for 6 months. So I actually got the message and was like,
we had chatted a couple. We had chatted a couple of times beforehand, so we had batted some I wish we could do this. We weren't as chatty as we are now, but there was that initial sort of bases had been touched, I guess you can say.
Yeah, I probably only you probably only reached out for the same reason as the reason why I bothered opening the message, which was we probably recognised this guy sees things similarly in terms of like wrestling and booking and that's like it was like we agreed on a lot of things, quite often disagreeing with the majority kind of thing, like in the...
Well, I remember you swinging around and telling me this, the story idea you had that led to you just going, look, this is not it, because you tried to present the idea and it got just completely ripped apart, wasn't even considered, just you got told, no, it's never going to happen. And I remember before you left, you told me that idea, and that sort of stuck with me, because it was like, man, that was pretty big, and like, he sort of knows wrestling, so that's why I reached out. It was that whole, like, he had good ideas, damn it. So
what I'm curious about, because I still don't really know all of the details, and obviously I don't go too deep into it, but what happened between me leaving and you messaging me? Because there was like, I don't know what the time frame was. It could have been 2 days, it could have been a month, but it was some short period of time, and then I got a message. Where I feel like you stuck at it a bit longer than I did, and then, you ended up going, but by the time you messaged me, you already had a thing going, so what was the process between leaving there and messaging me kind of thing?
Well, the fun thing is, the original founders, we were already in our own little Facebook group, and we were already chatting. This idea of going off and doing our own thing, because all of us weren't really happy with what was going on.
Yeah.
We weren't, and it's not, again, not a knock to them, it was just not a place for us. As we've discovered with online leagues, there's always a league that will fit for you, how you want to play, the way you want things, to go for you and all the rest of it. And then there's just not. It just goes down to human nature, not everyone gets along.
Yeah.
And we had already batted around this idea before you even left, so it was only a short time after you had left, we just... pretty much the same sort of explosion happened, and it was just like, no, we're done here, sort of thing. And we branched off to do it. And it was that chaos you alluded to before that was there, and I was feeling like we had a couple of strong personalities. Again, not mentioning names or else. We had a couple of strong personalities that really just, they were starting to do this whole, they had ideas that was like, that's really silly. Like, I didn't like it. And I wanted a good sort of like just back and forth and just a chat. So like not an instant, this is the idea, this is what we're going to go by one person, and it's sort of like, oh no, I don't want it altered and all the rest of it. I was really sort of hoping for a bit more of a fluid. Sort of similar to what we've got now. So like, it's very rare that someone, like, it's mainly either you or me, put our foot down and go, no, that's stupid. Like, it's very rare it happens. It's normally, there's a lot of talking and all the rest of it, and gets fleshed out a lot more.
Yeah, and you can maneuver the idea. If someone comes to you with an idea that's pretty stupid, you can be like, okay, I like this bit of it. Why don't we go this direction with that, so it doesn't end up, and without saying it, but doesn't end up at that stupid destination, like kind of thing. Like let's just take a slightly different turn off, like a different junction off this freeway, and we get to a good story instead of what you got to, But it's still your starting point, and your story has just been tweaked. Exactly. Like
what was going on was I was trying to get some like actual story going, not just let's throw names up in the air and look, those two people land next to each other, they're booked in the match. And again, going back to, I remembered that the idea you told me, I was like, that sort of hit me as like, he might really fit in with what we were going to do here. So I rolled the dice and I reached out, and you read the message and you quite happily jumped on board, and the growing pains in the first month were horrendous. Yeah. Like, there were a couple of times, I will be honest, I'm sitting there going, what in God's name have I done?
Yeah. So was I. I was like, why have I joined this? Why have I not left this group chat and blocked them all yet? What? Just get out.
Why am I sitting here? It's like, I'm losing hair as it is. Why am I just accelerating this process? Yeah.
Honestly, we're just lucky now that we're at this point. We're just lucky I'm so stubborn, like, sometimes, because I only stayed and argued because I wanted to let them know, no, I really am right about this, no, kind of thing. And it was just that stubbornness that kept me in the group chat at all. Anyone less stubborn would have just been like, you know what, this isn't worth my time, bye.
well, the beauty of it is, it sort of, It wasn't like you were just there on your own. It was sort of like your stubbornness, and you're like, no, this is it. And it sort of went with the majority of the group. Initially, it was like, I think it was only one person that was really rocking the boat. And then, they were sort of like, look, it's not working out. Future endeavoured. It was like, I think he's the one and only member of management from the founding group that we actually said, yeah, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Like everyone in the chat just like, you're the cause. Like you're making the problems here. Like, and then they threw their hands up the air, spat the dummy, and took off. It's like, well, we're gonna try and talk.
Yeah.
Because I remember I got a few messages afterwards, and you knew what I was like back then. I've mellowed out a little bit. Back then it was just I got this abusive message. It was like, you want to play this game, do you? Let's do this. It wasn't exactly a polite response.
No. But
yeah, we
a polite message.
No, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And I was hellbent. Like, I don't know why. It was sort of like I got quite driven just from my little taste in the league beforehand. This was enjoyable because I used to sit there and play the universe modes and all the rest of it and just do all this booking. This felt like a really, really fun concept.
If we could get it down to get it to work, it'd be a really good concept. I mean, you talk about universe mode, man. I remember as a kid playing WWF Attitude, and I'd just be setting up computer versus computer matches, but I'd be sat there, and in my head I'd be like, oh yeah, this is because in that tag match, that guy hit his partner, so now they're having a match. I'd be, they were probably very basic. I can't think of an example. It's a long time ago, but I had an idea in my head why this match was happening, what was going to happen next, depending on who won the match. And so I've been doing that since I was a kid. Before I knew wrestling was fake, probably, I was already booking my own show, which is weird when you think about it.
I remember doing this sort of thing. I got VHS tapes of me and my RL friends that were all there playing No Mercy.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania 2000 on the 64. I got VHS tapes. That's making me feel so old. There's people probably watching this going, what's VHS, and Googling it.
Yep.
We were sitting there. We would sit there and we'd have our creative wrestlers, and we'd be using some of the WWE guys. And we're all sitting there, oh, what story do we want to do? It was such a fun experience. This. It was really as you were saying, it was just pure stubbornness that got us through those first month. I remember we lost, the first person that left was the guy that was originally going to create the belts. He knew someone that did the creation. You mentioned in the last video you put up, the great creation guy.
Yeah, that's him. He's going to toot his own horn now. But
yes, sir. Pat me on the back.
But rightly so. Your stuff is good. So.
Yeah, well, I'm still humbled every time I hear that. I honestly am. Because first time I ever did any arenas and belts was in this. I didn't make my own or anything else. I just used the WWE stuff. What was pre-built in the game. And the guy used to contact all the rest of us, so we were sort of well, what are we going to do here? And it was just well, everyone put their hand up, go and make something. So I did. I just went and played around and created this thing, went, look what I did. And everyone was just oh, we're using that. I'm really? Yeah. Okay, fine. Whatever. This is, we're doing this then. And, it really, now I get an idea and I'm off creating arenas and all sorts of things. It sort of really got the juices flowing for me.
Oh, even better. I'm sure you love it when I get an idea and I'm like, hey, do you think this would work? Do you think you could actually is this possible in the game to make an arena that looks like this or a belt that looks like this? I just come up with this mad concept and I'm like, you're the builder, you're the engineer, you make it work. I've just come up with this ridiculous idea. Please try and make it work. And sometimes you're just no, that's not possible.
Roulette title came about.
Yeah, the roulette title was literally just that. Could you make a title belt that's a roulette wheel? Probably.
Yeah. It was maybe not, and it was what about a poker chip? It's possible. I don't know. Let's see. It sort of just fell into it. It's a lot of times I'm just screwing around pictures and all this. That looks alright. What happens if I do this and then this and then this? It's amazing.
But yeah, I think it's fair to describe the early days as rocky. To say the least. I think the admin team was 5 of us when I jumped in, I think, and now only me and you remain from that, and there's an admin team of... Is there 6 or 7 of us now? I can't remember. But
There's 6.
It's a completely different admin team, except for me and you. Like, it's completely rotated.
Well, and one other person that was there, like, she's still with us, who was an early admin too.
She was an early member, but it was once all the it was once we started losing admin members, and we were like, we can't do this ourselves. So was she the first person we added to the team? I can't remember.
She was.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and not every admin left because there was an argument or something.
No.
Like, we did have one that realised how much work went into it, and they respectively relinquished the power because it was just too much for it.
Yeah.
So, and you got to give credit.
Yeah, it wasn't all drama.
That was
but
really good.
The overarching memory of that time was drama for me personally. It wasn't all drama. There was good times. Like, I'm not trying to paint a terrible picture, but when you think back, that's the first word that comes to mind for me is drama.
Oh yes.
But yeah, so then obviously people started, and it was over the process of like months that the admin team sort of slowly faded out. The people that aren't still in it, it was probably over the first year. Like, it wasn't like a quick process. It wasn't within like 3 weeks with like 3 admins had gone or something. It was quite a long process, and we slowly sort of replaced them with people that had joined just to play and were like, super reliable and being like, to use the actual wrestling term, like a locker room leader in the chats and stuff. They were sort of policing the chats anyway, and we were like, hey, like, they seem like they might be good at this, like, they seem like they might be on board if we ask them to actually do the thing they're already doing,
A couple of them were like flag carriers, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, they would get into arguments in other places defending us.
Yeah.
Like, ex-member would be dragging the name through the mud, and it was like, we'd find out they're getting into full-blown arguments, going, no, it was all you, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, you're cool.
And like, I think one thing that really helped with the new admin team against the old one is the old admin team, like, everyone kind of thought they were everything, including us, by the way. Like, everyone whereas now, it's not like super defined where, this is your role, you can't be involved in this other role at all. But when push comes to shove, this person is more in charge of this department, and this person is more in charge of this. So, in effect, we're all kind of each other's bosses in a way. When it comes to, like, getting matches done, for example, we answer to one person, and they're even above us, because that's their department kind of thing. And then when it comes to booking, different people are in charge, and when it comes to, like, the new people, someone else is in charge, and everything, it's like, everyone gets an input in every single section, but there's also, like, a department boss, for want of a better term, like a manager of each department that's like, no, if everyone can't agree, at least we've got someone to make the final say, kind of thing. Like, and it's not always the same person. There's no overarching kind of dictator kind of thing, which I think is good as well. Considering that the only candidates for that would be me and you, I don't think either of us actually want that to be the case. It's like, it's better having a bit of split responsibility.
That's too much headache.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is. It's too much responsibility, because then if it all goes wrong, you start. It's all on you, kind of thing. So it's nice. It sounds sad to say it's nice to have someone else to blame sometimes, but in a way, it actually is, because like, if something's going wrong that's someone else's department, you can. It's not about divvying out blame, but you can help out. You can be like, right, what needs doing for this to get sorted, kind of thing, and then they'll do the same when our bit's not going well, and so on, and it just you have responsibility for your bit, but no one goes, well, that's not my job, kind of thing. Like,
that's it.
It's a really good like blend, to be honest. And in terms of how the league itself has evolved to where we are now, which is essentially waiting for 2K22. The league's still going, by the way. We're still putting up match cards on 2K19, but we're not uploading them to YouTube. So behind the scenes, it's still happening. People are still, suggesting storylines and getting matches done and what have you. But I think it's fair to say it's slowed. I think people now are just mostly waiting for 2K22. I think most people are a bit over 2K19. 2K20 is just not playable online. With 2K19, it's been out for like 3 years. It's like well, two and a bit, two and a couple of months. It's been around for a while now. Like, the plan was we started on 2K18, and the plan was obviously when 2K19 comes out, we'd overlap by a couple of months where everyone plays 18 but is making their stuff on 19, and then we just continue the stories and move the cars over to 19, and then when 20 comes out we do it again, and then when 21 comes out, and obviously 20 came out and 21 didn't come out, and all of that was just a massive spanner in the works, so we've ended up on 2K19 for the best part of 3 years.
Yeah,
you
20,
know, like, and it's just getting
20
a bit older,
upset the boat.
people. Yeah.
20 upset the boat, like, majorly, like...
That's like saying the iceberg upset the Titanic, like...
Yeah. Like, a lot of leagues, well, I rate, like, anyone who's watching this obviously likes the wrestling and the wrestling games. You know what the deal with that game was, and the way that... It's one of the only times that I've been a gamer for a long time. I don't want to say how long, because that might just give away how old I actually am. But
74 years or so, I think.
Yes, it's not like that. 104. I think I remember. But I've rarely, if ever, seen a player base cause such a change like what happened with 2K20. We, like, the outroar and the absolute disgust on how bad that game was had the next year's cancelled and the whole development team overhauled and all the rest of it. Like, it was pretty intense and insane.
Yeah, on the flip side,
so fingers crossed, it's good.
Game that bad. I mean, there's been buggy games. There's been, you know, it's sort of become a bit more of a trend since almost. They almost set the trend, you know, like to release broken games. But
yeah.
2K20 was the standard bearer for that. Like, there was nothing else like it before that came out and was that bad. You know,
as it got pointed out, Drew wanted to cut like the load screens. It says it on there, and it just sort of stuck with me as far as how to joke about 2K20. It's not torture when you pay for it.
Yeah, it's in the training centre in the game, isn't it? And yeah, it just tickles me.
Yeah,
that they put that in the game. Unironically, they put that in the game, and it's just like being used against them so much. But I think so the thing is that people that don't maybe know the game, don't really play it a lot online, or haven't ever tried to participate in or run a league, might not understand how frustrating 2K20 was. Because there was glitches where Becky Lynch's face came off, and there was, you know, the referee that ended up like doing things to Charlotte Flair while she was doing the grade that he shouldn't have done. Everyone's seen those clips. But the things that were really frustrating were just simple things. They took away the ability to use custom arenas in online matches. So suddenly we couldn't do EWA because we couldn't use an EWA arena. People, like, half our roster has face paint. If you put face paint on your wrestler and went into an online match, they no longer had the face paint. And just all this just stupid stuff that was all... And it was like, you know, there's another straw on the camel's back, and there's another straw, and there's another straw. And after there was enough, we were like, screw it, we're going back to 2K19. Like, we'll just see how long they keep the servers open for, because screw this. We're not... Like, we at one point launched 2K20 where everyone just picked an NXT wrestler. We weren't even using creator wrestlers because it was so broken. It was like, right, we use NXT wrestlers, we use the NXT arena, and we just tell our own stories within NXT. Like, it got to that point.
That would work.
Yeah, and it could have done, but I don't think any of our hearts were really in it. We wanted EWA, we didn't want NXT. Like,
the problem also is the matchmaking and the, like, for online, just grouping up, and they cut some even more options out from making matches and this and that. And I remember I went into a dark match with a couple of the guys, long-standing members of the EWA. So like, the game first dropped, we're like, all right, let's like play this one because I had it, they had it. It was meant to be a triple threat. As we loaded in, it was a handicap match.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even select a handicap match as an option, and we load in, and it's like, hang on, this is because I couldn't target one of the guys, he couldn't target me, and it was like, well then.
And the thing is as well, you couldn't repeat the result. Like, you could, if you decided, that means we can have handicap matches now. No, you couldn't do that on purpose. You couldn't be like, we'll just follow the same process and we'll end up in a handicap match. No, next time it'd be a triple threat. It'd be fine. Like, it was inconsistent and stuff. It was ridiculous. It was just all over the place. And
sadly, it seemed like there was even more server lag. So it was just like absolute. It was just a mess. And again, like you were saying, 2K19, it's like, it's a great game. Like, you don't appreciate how good that game actually was until we got that handed to us. Like, man, that is a masterpiece. Like, that should go down as one of the great wrestling games ever made. Like, just because of how good it was.
Yeah. It actually does still hold up. It's actually still a good game. Like
We've played
the
on it for
reason
so
why I
long.
said we were getting a bit old on it isn't necessarily the game. It's everyone's been using that same version of that same car for like 2 and a bit years. You know, they've not made any real tweaks because there's not been anything new to add. You know, they've already picked their favourite entrants, their favourite finishers. They're not going to go back through the list and pick a different one just for the sake of it. There's not been a new game with like an updated version of any of the stuff. You know, it's just that update. Those yearly franchises, people are always like, oh, why do people buy FIFA? It's the same game every year. Those little updates, your players moving around in the squads, or you know, a slightly different roster on a wrestling game, or whatever the example is. It does make a difference. It freshens it up, even if they don't change anything massive mechanically about the game. It freshens it up, and that's what we've not had now for like over 2 years, and people are just a bit burnt out on it. I think when 2K22 drops, I think there's going to be like a massive explosion of excitement within our chats and stuff, and I think people will be like, I've made my guy. It'll be like day one, and people will be like, I've made my guy. Like, when do we start? You know, like kind of thing, and it'll be like, give everyone a chance. You know, like you've done it super quick, but let's give everyone a chance. You know, but everyone will be. I imagine there'll be like dark matches going on day one, you know, and stuff like, you know, and they'll be minding you, where's the new dark title, you know, because like they want to fight.
Yeah, I was about to say you think you're going to have it bad.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's actually going to get PMs. It's like, you made the belt yet? No.
Yeah.
You made the arena yet? No. Like, I'm making my guy.
I'm playing the game. Leave me alone.
I got it an hour ago, you jackass.
But like,
let me upload the images.
But as much as it'll probably get annoying hearing it from 20 different people, we're just going to keep it in mind. It's such a good thing because we haven't had that enthusiasm for it for a while, and no one's left.
Yeah.
No one wants to stop doing it. People have just like lost the eagerness, the urge, the urgency. Like when we first returned to 2K19, everyone was so relieved because 2K20 was so bad. They were so relieved that we were doing something again. I think the first match card we put up, we give everyone 5 days to do the match card, and I think like all but one match was done within 24 hours. It was like people were just like, right, we get to play again. Let's go, you know, kind of thing.
And even that.
And now
that
it's
one
like,
match wasn't the case of they dragged their heels. It was just their schedules.
Yeah, didn't line up.
Yeah, and they already set a time aside.
Whereas now, they get 5 days, but realistically it's more like 2 weeks they get, because everyone just drags their feet, and it's just not the same enthusiasm for it, and I don't blame anyone.
And it's not just the feet dragging. We're not as
keen
as management when we're booking the matches and all the rest. We're dragging feet a little bit, and it could be down to like we had all these grand plans and they get shot in the feet, and it's like, it's like, I don't want to know more.
Whereas I mean, as people that follow me on social media and my YouTube channels know, I'm a big fan of an excuse for a fresh start, such as, you know, New Year's Day, for example. And a new game is a good excuse for a fresh start, in my opinion. So I'm so excited because I know I will never be more motivated than like the first month of the new game being out. So as long as we like set the ball rolling and we've got momentum by that point, that's it. We keep going, kind of thing. That, you know,
and it's coming out at the perfect time too.
Yeah, that's like me at my peak. You know, like is when it's like brand new and you're just like, right, I don't need to sleep. I don't need to do anything except for this. You know, this is the exciting thing. I don't need anything else. You know, and it's just I get a bit obsessive. You know.
It looks like it's coming out at the best time because it's coming out in WrestleMania season. And that's when every wrestling fan
is excited about wrestling.
Like, we got it there. Where it's like sort of stuff. Like this month is where I start really getting the creative juices flowing in all the rest of it because I love the Royal Rumble. Yeah,
there's a lot of.
I'm already theory crafting.
There's a lot of wrestling fans that only watch 3 months of wrestling a year as well. You know, like, and that's when the game's coming out. So you know, it's pretty good because you know they sort of be like, oh yeah, the Royal Rumble's coming up. That's always fun. So they watch through January to see who's going to be in the Rumble and get to know the wrestlers again, and then like, well, I've got to watch the Mania now because I want to see if they win the title. You know, and then they drop off and don't watch for 9 months, and then they come back the next January. And like, there's a lot of people who cycle like that, and that's going to be.
We got a couple in the league.
Yeah,
they play the game. And, you know, suddenly we're messaging a group chat. It's like, when did such and such turn heel? It's like, 6 months ago, man.
Yeah.
Like, where have you been? Like, I don't watch it anymore. I've been getting bored. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah. But, yeah, it's amazing how it works.
So, yeah, really excited for 2K22. Like, it's going to be like, so we're going to be uploading all this stuff. I've got this massive plan. I've got like a spreadsheet and everything of what I want going on the channel, and like I'm open to suggestions from you, management, people in the comments, other members that aren't even management that just have an idea. Everyone throw ideas at me, because if I think it's viable to make the videos in time and it's a good idea, it'll be being done, because we've got a lot of time to fill. But the main thing we've talked about doing has been uploading classic matches. Like, we talked about doing every existing member's debuts. We talked about doing like original title matches, like to crown the first champions, stuff like that. But
some historic matches where something important happens.
Yeah, exactly. But the important thing to remember as a viewer, as a fan of EWA, is none of it is going to be canon. We are going to start blank slate, as if you've never heard of these guys. Because the thing is, some of these guys won't be in 2K22, because some people turn around and go, I'm a bit overusing him, I'm going to make myself a new guy, and that's fine. You know, like, we're fine with that. So, you know, people have done that between games in the past, and, you know, like, who are we to tell people, no, you can't, no, you must play with this character you don't even like anymore. You know, it's
that's it.
It's one of those where there's got to be that freedom, hasn't there, to enjoy it. It's still a hobby at the end of the day. It's not.
Well, it's still a game. Like, we're not.
Exactly.
We're not here. We got some rules on the league with how you're meant to wrestle a match. Don't do this scummy move. Don't do that, for goodness sakes. You know, but ultimately, we're not here to suck the fun out of a game.
Yeah, the rules are all based around making sure everyone in the match has fun, because it can be really fun stomp baiting the hell out of someone and beating them without taking any damage, but it's only fun for one of the two people. You know, so the rules are all based around making it fun for both of the people involved, you know, and that's sort of like the idea. And we've got like the fewest rules of any league I've seen. Like, I've popped into a few other leagues just to see what they're doing, and we have the fewest rules by far in terms of gameplay. Like, it's very free and easy, because we trust our players. Our player base is good. Like, they get it. They get what we're doing.
It's self-policing too, I've noticed. Like, if someone does something that's like universally agreed that's a scummy thing, normally someone's tapping them on the shoulder and it's not a full argument. Yeah, basically. But if someone's pointing out, it's like, man, can you not do that? And that's where dark matches are great, because we actually get in there and we see someone doing something and we actually say, look, you just did XYZ. Can you not try not to do that, because we don't like that happening here? And because the dark match doesn't really count, it's not going on YouTube, it's not really a canon match, it's pretty good. Like, we're pretty loose when it comes to what happens at dark matches. Like, there's a few things that happens in those that so like, we don't want to do that in the thing. And I'm guilty of it. It's like, we'll sit there, it's like suddenly I'm running around the ring just laughing my ass off. A good 3-4 minutes just running circles around the ring as two people are beating the hell out of each other. So it's like, hang on, where's Taylor? Oh, he's out there.
Yeah.
Like, hold on a minute.
I remember doing an elimination chamber, and I spent like most of it just Spider-Manning along the walls, like just climbing onto a pod, Spider-Man along to the next one, and then going along to the next. Like, there's just no. I didn't do anything for like 5 minutes in the match, but I was having fun, so whatever. But yeah, like, but the point is, just enjoy the matches, enjoy the lore, and it's like you have access to like exclusive knowledge behind the scenes. You have access to what happens at the old WWF house shows that no one talks about, the old WWF house shows before they were on TV. Kind of think of it like that, where there's title changes in WWE history that just are not acknowledged at all. Antonio Inoki winning the WWF title springs to mind. The Rockers won the tag titles at one point, but they've got nothing on their record officially, because they won it at a house show and it got changed back at the next house show and they just struck it off the record. And stuff like that. So
like the Rockers, they won the match and the top rope broke and they were like, you know what, we're just going to erase this from history.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. That's the Rockers one. Yeah, there was someone else who won the title almost by accident and then lost it back at the next show the next night, and they just didn't mention it ever. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, like the referee screwed up and hit the mat or something. It was like,
Yeah. So think of it like that, having that little behind the scenes knowledge. But when we come out on WWE 2K22 with the fully edited, fully cut together full match cards as a full show with commentary and what have you all throughout the show and storylines and stuff, that's like day one. I mean, day one's just happened, but that is like, that's like moment dot of like, this is where it actually begins. We'll be starting, spoilers, I'm pretty sure we've agreed on this, but most likely, if not 100%, we'll be starting with a tournament to crown the first champion, because we want everyone to have a chance to be the first one. You know, it just makes the most sense. Like, you know, and then hopefully some interesting things will happen in some of the matches on the way to the final, and that'll branch out into storylines, and it'll just evolve organically from there, basically. And that's sort of how we've always wanted to do EWA, is let the storylines evolve organically. Like, how many times do we go into a chat and like, did you watch that match? Like, it was an Extreme Rules match. Did you watch that match? That dude set up a table and no one got put through it. They need a tables match. They need to be like, hang on, I wanted to put him through that table. Like, you know, kind of just little things like that. Just extend it a little bit. Like, I wanted to put you through that table and you wimped out and rolled me up and got a quick pin. No.
And it helps with our booking.
Yeah, it helps massively. Like, I'm watching matches from the point of view of, is there anything in this match that I can be like, that wrestler should be annoyed at that? Because it gives you something to move on with, you know, kind of thing. It gives you something to, like, advance with. And if there isn't, it generally means, oh, well, this might be a good stopping point for the feud, you know, kind of thing. So it's like...
Because that's one thing we've discovered with booking and story writing. Like, in WWE wrestling, like professional wrestling, no matter what promotion, they're paid, they're employed. They get told before they go out to the match if they're winning, they're losing, they're drawing, they're getting, you know,
who
whatever.
Wins, who goes to a table. Yeah, it's not actually
they got like 6 months worth of stories sort of there. We rarely sort of, I think it's like one match every blue moon sort of thing, and that's normally because there's a big overarching story. There's some sort of fixed finish in there. Most of the time we're sitting there going, oh, who's going to win this? That was a surprise.
Yeah, and
man, that ruined that idea we had.
Yeah, me and you were messaging each other going, right, if this one wins, we could do this, 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 and this. But if this one wins, we could do this, this. We've got like branching storylines going on in our heads. Like, right, hang on, which path do we need to go down now? Where like we thought of an answer to if this person wins. What was it? You know, and stuff like. And we're going back through the chat. Like, where was it? Scrolling through. Like, it's great fun though. Because I play that booking game, and that's fun because you get to decide the winners and the outcomes and decide 6 months in advance who's going to be your champion at WrestleMania if you're playing WWE or whatever. But this is like a different type of fun challenge where it's like on the fly, like, okay, this happened this week, now we have to decide what happens next week in booking, you know, and it's like just a different kind of challenge. Tournaments, yeah, exactly.
Tournaments are always fun for you and me because we sit there, we're essentially having bets between ourselves. It's like, all right, who do you think's going to get through to the finals and all the rest of it? And stupid me always bets on myself, and stupid me always fails. And it's nothing against my playstyle. It's like whether I'm good or bad or the person I'm wrestling's better. It's like I've found myself actually wrestling Taylor like he's meant to. Yeah. Like, I'll do a taunt, and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have done that taunt. Like, I'm telling myself, like, that was a stupid time to do it, but it was when it felt like I should do this.
But universally, when you've gone, oh, that was a stupid time, and it's cost you a match, then when you upload the match, you get a message from you going, that was fantastic. that was such a good moment. Like, that bit where you hit a move and then laughed at him, and he kicked up and hit his finisher on you, gold.
Yeah,
you know, like...
I was about to mention that. It's like, there was, like... I was about to win it. I accidentally hit the laughing taunt. My opponent did that, kipped with the finish. 1, 2, 3, and I'm sort of sitting there going, son of a bitch! But for the character of Taylor Osborne, it was perfect.
At least I lost in a Taylor way. Yeah, exactly.
I didn't just screw up, or I didn't just go out there and get my ass kicked in, what was it, like, under 3 minutes?
2:16.
2:16, yeah, it was sort of... inside a little joke there.
We, by the way, just peeling back the curtain for everyone listening now, we should still upload that match. Maybe because there's a couple of them that were real quick, we could upload them as one video where we do them back
we can put that match in when we're just mentioning this right now.
Yeah, because, well, yeah, depending on what I end up putting over this. But I think it'd be fun to actually address that little mini story, because it was like a highlight. It really was a highlight of the booking was really fun with it. And
the
also because
involved,
if we set up a merch store, it'd be fun to still be able to sell Fallon 216 shirts, even though it's not actually happened. It'd be like a little inside baseball shirt where only a certain percentage of the fan base even know why that shirt exists. I think that'd be quite fun.
Yeah, it's like the same Minneapolis Lakers jersey, and they're like, what's that? And it's like, yeah, that was like Los Angeles Lakers, like God knows how many decades ago.
It'd be like if WWE sold shirts at house shows that related to how the house show was booked. It'd be quite a fun concept. You know, like a little inside joke, like Kevin Owens recently kicking that inflatable penguin. If they just sold T-shirts at the house show of him kicking a penguin, that'd be amazing because that fraction of the WWE fan base would have access to that shirt and understand why. And if they then met up at WrestleMania, people would be like looking at it like, oh, I think I vaguely remember something like him kicking a penguin, but I don't get it. Was that a shirt? Did you get that custom made? You know, I'm like, no, it's from WWE. And it'd just be a really fun little conversation piece kind of thing, yeah, so. But anyway, I think we've waffled on long enough now. I think time for us to wind down and end this video, and for me to try and get it on YouTube sometime today.
That's it. I'll probably show up again chatting about something or just doing something. So it's not the last you'll hear of me.
These the match commentaries, me and Amir had really good chemistry, but I know he's like super busy, like with life at the moment. But I do like doing the commentary with someone, because on my own channel I do solo commentary, and I always enjoyed doing the commentary with Amir more. Because it gives you a bit of a break to breathe. You don't have to respond to literally every single thing that happens on the screen. So you actually get to breathe, on that. Which is nice. You get it because of your streams. Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to get to breathe occasionally. But also,
the respect I've got for Joey Styles now is just astronomical.
Yes, exactly. But the other thing is, like, it's just more fun because you have that like back and forth as well, like that sort of banter between you. Like it's inevitable, especially if it's like two people who get along, like you actually know each other. Like if you just put two randoms on commentary, it'll probably evolve into that eventually. But we've known each other for years. Me and Amir have known each other for years, so we go into it with the mentality of, well, we can say whatever we want to each other at this point, so it's going to be a laugh, isn't it? You know, kind of thing. You know.
I'm looking forward to essentially being the the king out of it. Yeah, it's like throw stupid crap out there to see what sticks.
But yeah, so thank you. I said this yesterday in the update video, but thank you everyone who's like watched these first couple of videos, because we gained some subscribers and got some quite good views on our stuff, and then we just vanished. And I do apologise, and I do take more responsibility than I would dish out for that. Like, I'm not saying it's entirely me, but I was a big part of that because I did the editing and the uploading. Because at the end of the day, the editing and uploading didn't happen. You know, like there was other factors, but that still boils down to it. So I apologise for that. I'm just glad people are coming back and watching it, and I hope we re-whet your appetite in the next sort of few months before we start uploading content on the new game, and it becomes like a really fun thing for everyone to be involved with. Because one of my favourite things about EWA was the fact that I always set every video as a premiere just so I could be there and watch people chat about it as it was going on. Because even people that knew the results hadn't seen the editing, hadn't seen like the finished product of the show, and it had a totally different feel to just watching someone's match with no commentary, you know. So they look forward to what me and Amir said, and they look forward to like little cutscenes that I'd edit in and stuff. So I really loved like watching it with people and seeing those live reactions, you know, to what I'd made. Oh, yeah. You know, it's like you said, you get a kick out of how much we like your arenas and stuff. I got a kick out of how much people like my videos. You know, it's just it's nice to have that part on the back. So,
any sort of creation thing you do, it's always good to get that, like, as you said, pat on the back. It's that, like, oh, I did something good.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you everyone, and we will see you. I was going to say next time, but tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after. Hopefully, I can keep up the schedule, and even if I can't, it's going to be a lot more frequent than it's been for the last 9-12 months, whatever it's been. So as in 0. So it's going to be more than 0, which is great. And yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing how this develops. Like I'm already excited, and with 3 months from the game even coming out, never mind like EWA being ready. So
I'm already getting bits and pieces together.
Yeah, ideas in your head and stuff. Yeah, like, I'm the same.
Yeah,
I'm like amalgamating like ideas. Like you're watching a wrestling show from like 2005, and you're like, oh, no one's done that since. That's a cool storyline. We could do. I'm
already designing logos and stuff to upload as soon as the thing drops. It's like, ooh, let's do this.
Straight in. But yeah, thank you everyone, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow. But we'll definitely see you next time.
Yes. Bye.